Welcome in, everyone. This is another edition of the Full-Time Roundup podcast. It is our Thursday preview show. It is your host, Daniel Brackett, joined alongside me, Harrison Clark. Harrison, it has been 3 glorious Champions League days during the day, starting at 12:45, ending at 5 o'clock. It has made the workday go by a hell of a lot faster. Did you have fun?
Sure did. It's been some nice background muse as you get other shit done. And in general, it's been a long time since we've had the Golasso show as your light goes out again. But it is beautiful having Champions League footy back. It's always nice seeing teams honestly not even familiar with getting to play like today with Brest and Sturm Graz. Like did no shit really about either of them, but still an interesting game. But yeah, I'm fired up for more league games this weekend.
You bet your ass we are. And I mean, we absolutely cleaned up in terms of the books, and we'll go over that as we'll be giving picks for the weekend. But before we preview, this slate for this weekend, I did want to talk about the Champions League slate and a couple games that caught the eye. Is there? I would say starting on Tuesday, I think AC Milan Liverpool was the heaviest hitter of a game. Don't know why audio randomly came on. Sorry about that. So in terms of Liverpool AC Milan, not gonna lie, Milan had us in the first 7 minutes of the game. I was in panic mode. Pulisic scores, continues his amazing season, and they had like 7 counterattacks on us immediately, especially with Rafa Leao running at us. Didn't feel so warm and fuzzy about it. But they do kind of turn it around and win on 2 absolutely abysmal corners in terms of marking. I thought that was Spurs for a second. But it was good to get the win here. It seemed like it was an absolutely dominant win from Liverpool, and Milan just had no answer.
No, they didn't. It was chance after chance for Liverpool. Like it was straight down Milan's throat the entire game. But minus the 7 minutes, like you mentioned, like Pulisic, just almost a half-field run all the way into the box. Nobody stops him, and he buries it in the side netting. And all of a sudden, I'm like, holy fuck! Like, I mean, Liverpool could be in one here. And then it quickly flips, like you mentioned, the set pieces. Just abysmal defending. I will say on Konate's goal, my man rose real high. He was up there to go get that one, and then Virgil's was free. Just nobody on him at the near post, and then Szoboszlai finishes it off. So despite a strong start from Milan, it was Liverpool dominant the rest of the game. And again, it raises questions about Fonseca, I think, in Milan. They're going to keep talking. It's a tough start to the season for Milan. And they're gonna need, I think, a good result this weekend against Inter. Hopefully they don't get blown out, or else he really, like you mentioned in multiple episodes before this, like he could be in trouble.
Yeah, no, I mean, I feel like if you ask most Milan fans, anyways, if they expected to win this game, it'd be no. Yeah. They at least started out well, but obviously, if you compound all of the results together and then you lose to your rival, that's a recipe for disaster. We already saw De Rossi get sacked this week. So he got his marching orders. So Mourinho and De Rossi sacked within like a year. So not good for Roma. I don't know who they've hired to kind of replace De Rossi, but once you see one domino fall in Serie A, you're usually going to see more. So definitely be on the lookout for that. That's definitely a good shout out. Another game that was interesting. I wouldn't say interesting, but it was an interesting result. Was Manchester City Inter Milan. After I named the title Holland's dominance in the Premier League, he drops an absolute stinker to Inter Milan. I thought Inter Milan were honestly the better side here. I had a really good feeling about them in terms of the Champions League final 2 years ago. They surprised me, and I just think Inzaghi, especially under the Champions League lights in cup games, he knows what he's doing, and the game plan there was phenomenal.
Yeah, they know how to clamp it down when it matters. Last episode we said that we didn't like a whole lot of goals in this game, but we didn't necessarily think it was going to be a snooze fest. Well, it kind of actually did turn into a snooze fest. He just didn't really get anything serious in this game, even though, City's XG finished over 2. It's not like they didn't have some chances in this game. I know Holland rolled one just past the post in the first half. I think a lot about Gundogan's flying header near the end. That
Foden had a nice curler too that just kind of missed above too.
Yeah, so it wasn't like City didn't have their chances. It's just that, like you said, Inter in the Champions League, they find a way to shut it down and make it really difficult for teams to sniff the net. So I don't think either team's really I think Inter will be most, of course, happy about this result, considering City's maybe the best team in the world. But I also don't think City, obviously they have a massive game against Arsenal this weekend. I don't think they're really putting that much stock in drawing. I think they just care most, honestly, about De Bruyne's health, because obviously he went off at halftime, and if he's missing, obviously they have a ton of depth. They'll be okay, and they've been okay when he's missed in the past, but still against a team like Arsenal, it's a guy that you'd like to have in there.
No doubt. You mentioned Manchester City. They play Arsenal, and we'll kind of touch on that this weekend, but Arsenal also draw to Atalanta in a fairly cagey match. Atalanta probably deserved to win this one, especially they had the PK. Prategi misses the PK, Raya, great save, and then has an open goal and literally just puts it right where David Raya jumps to the opposite direction. Unexcusable miss.
Yes, but I'm giving a shit ton of credit to Raya. Regardless, he still dove from his post halfway across the goal to make that save. It gave me flashbacks to this exact same thing that happened against Villa earlier this year when the ball hit the bar, and it looked like Watkins had a wide open net in his header. Raya made an unreal save on that one. But yeah, he saved the point for Arsenal for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. There's just something about Arsenal in the Champions League that just doesn't feel right with me. I just always feel like I have a good feeling about going against them.
Yeah, don't fear me. They don't fear me yet in Champions League.
No, and I think we learned the hard way. I think that's still a carryover from last year. In terms of how Arsenal fared in the Champions League, but we're going to see if they're going to be better. Obviously, Odegaard's out, so that's a big miss. And Atalanta are a good side. This is the Atalanta team that made Liverpool look absolutely abysmal, and then they went and they beat Bayer Leverkusen in the final. So do not sleep on this team to kind of go far and surprise a lot of people in this tournament. Kind of going out to another wild game. This wasn't a wild or a close game. We had 3 field goals and a safety here. 9-2. Bayer Leverkusen beat Zagreb. It was 3-0 at half. Then Zagreb goes and they score 2 goals right after the kickoff.
2 goals in 2 minutes.
And it was one of those memes where the guy's sitting up and then he sits down.
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And then Bayern Munich go and they score 6 goals consecutively. I said again, 3 goals in the first half, 8 goals in the second half. So absolutely nuts. Zagreb's coach actually got the boot after this game. Such an embarrassing performance that he didn't even survive. So again, not going to overreact to this Bayern team. It was 3-2 at 50 minutes. So just going to put that out there. They're still vulnerable, but in terms of the score, 11 goals is a pretty nuts Champions League game.
Inexcusable for Zagreb. That just can't happen.
Yeah.
I mean, dude.
Yeah.
Regardless of how talented Bayern is and how much better they are, you can't allow 9. If it got the double digits, I actually would have just laughed so hard because of how embarrassing that is. The keeper made 10 saves still. He made 10 saves and they still gave up 9. That's how brutal Zagreb were. 4 goals for Kane.
After a hat trick. 7 goals in 2 games.
Yeah, no, it's consecutive hat tricks for Harry Kane. Looks like he's starting to find it. It was a hat trick of penalties, so I did hear them say first hat trick of penalties ever in the Champions League, which is surprising, but also again adds to the embarrassment for Zagreb.
They had a goal called offsides early too. That was really close.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, it looked like it might get ugly early, and I don't know. I think we might have found the worst team in Champions League because that was just embarrassing. I mean, you could definitely make arguments for other teams and say this was just a horrible game, but that just can't happen.
Yeah, I mean, I have a soft spot in my heart for Zagreb. One of my buddies, one of my best friends growing up, went on trial there. And so, we would always watch. That's where Luka Modric and a bunch of the good Croatian players came out of too. So I always thought that was cool. But yeah,
maybe they could have used your buddy.
They probably, honestly, not good though. Not good. That was pretty embarrassing. In terms of other games that were fun, I'm looking through the slate. I actually okay. Atletico Madrid, Leipzig. Atletico Madrid went at the depth against Leipzig. Leipzig's just one of these teams that you never know what you're going to get. They opened the scoring, looked pretty good, and then Antoine Griezmann happened. So, still high on both of these teams in the Champions League, but in terms of needing wins, this is a pretty big result for Atletico.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you saw the excitement that Simeone had after the game. He was sprinting down the tunnel. That guy's as passionate as he gets in the game. Leipzig, like you mentioned, they came out flying. I mean, they were running transition. The goal itself, all block, great save, and then Sesko's just 6'3" and just jumps over everybody and scores the rebound. Yeah. But the second half, Madrid came to life, and like you mentioned, Antoine Griezmann came to life, and he scores 2 goals. The second one, really nice header back against the grain into the side.
Both goals, fantastic.
I mean, yeah, both.
And that volley was behind him for the first one. So
yeah,
I didn't see the second one. I was listening on my phone, so I missed it. But the first one was really nice.
Yeah, not two pretty difficult finishes, and that just tells you about how much class Antoine Griezmann is. So, but like you mentioned, amazing result for Madrid, especially at home. That's a game that you would like to win, and it sets them on a good foot for the rest of the Champions League.
Yeah, the last game I wanted to mention is obviously the Barcelona-Monaco game. Monaco win the game due to a Barcelona early red card. I missed the red card. I did watch a lot of this game, but I did miss the red card. Did you happen to see it? Eric Garcia sent off.
Yeah, I mean,
what happened?
A little turnover, like right in front of his box, and your boy Minamino hopped on that thing, and he really was looking one-on-one with Ter Stegen, and Garcia took him out, and
so bad.
Not really the typical red card I think that you see in the run of play, where usually it's like a transition moment and they get behind. It's one of those where you just fumble it in front of your own box, and then all of a sudden the guy in a blink of an eye is one-on-one with your keeper, and he took him out. So I think the red card was right in my opinion. Lamine Yamal makes it interesting, ties it up 1-1. All of a sudden, you have no idea how the game's going to go. And then, again, like being down a man, Monaco hit on the transition in the second half, and Barry's won against Ter Stegen. So, obviously not the way Barcelona would like to start their Champions League. Again, you're down a man. You don't know exactly what kind of result you're going to come out with. But props to Monaco. They got a W at home.
Yeah. I almost rather like Eric Garcia wait till he gets in the box and then take him out, just so it's the double jeopardy rule and he doesn't get sent off.
Yeah.
It's so annoying.
My wallet wishes that too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we'll get to that. A couple other just things I saw that were just wild or chaotic or interesting. Number one, PSG, they won off a really bad cross, and it just happened to go through the guy's legs. Gazaniga.
He's having a hell of a game too.
He was just a rush of blood to the head, lack of judgment, just really bad. Hate to see that. Benfica, new coach, Bruno Lage, ex-Wolves coach, ex-Benfica coach. I didn't realize they fired Roger Schmidt earlier this month, September 1st, when the reports came out. So just surprised about that. But they also signed Artakoglu, who was, shined pretty well for the Turkish national team. He's Galatasaray, and they got him for 12 million, which is an absolute steal. And I still think Sporting are the better team by a distance, but maybe Bruno Lage can make that more competitive. I just thought that was interesting in terms of, how much I love Portuguese football.
Lisbon looked good too.
Lisbon looked good. Gyökeres is the truth. I mean,
that goal he scored was just such a striker's goal, dude. Back to goal, a quick turn, bottom corner.
He had some passes too that are just like unbelievable. Just he's the real deal, and someone needs to buy him soon just because of how good of a player. But the Juve PSV game was interesting, just based off Thiago Motta versus a pretty good PSV. Juventus just flexed their muscles, so there was never a doubt there. Then in terms of any other game, it was fun to see Aston Villa, Dortmund handle business. Bologna, Shakhtar Donetsk was everything you thought it to be.
Leverkusen was over quick.
Leverkusen was over real fast. So yeah, I mean, Brest winning against Sturm Graz, that was a good win for them.
Madrid surviving Stuttgart.
Madrid barely surviving Stuttgart, like we always say. So yeah. Now, in terms of the games, we'll kind of switch to the games that we like this weekend, starting with obviously City and Arsenal. Even with KDB out, I think KDB out is less scary than Odegaard being out for Arsenal. You have Gundogan, you have Foden, you got so many guys there. I think this is going to be another cagey match for both of these teams, and I think that City should win this game, even though they didn't last time out.
I agree with you. It kind of just feels like these big games when it's probably going to be 1 and 2 in the standings. You just got a feeling that City's going to come out on top. I remember a couple of years ago, or maybe it was last year. No, I think it was a couple of years ago when Arsenal were starting to really get back into the top in the league. And there was a decisive game, probably like 25 games in at Arsenal. And they were 1 and 2 in the time, and City took care of business and just killed them like 3-1 or 4-1. I don't necessarily get the feeling that it's going to be a blowout or anything, but I can see City sneaking one out here. I think it's going to be obviously a close affair. I think it'll be low scoring. Each team's going to be playing tight. But again, when you have a guy like Erling Haaland who just needs one moment, I'm going to probably back City to pull one off.
Yeah, I'm going 1-0. How about you, City?
I like 1-0 also.
All right, so we're going to do rapid fire here. Since we did talk about Champions League, Foxes, the Leicester City, and Everton and Southampton versus Ipswich, the 4 relegation favorites here, are playing each other this week. So this is a big what Matt Gesslin, our my dear co-host, who has just been really busy, I wanted to mention, with work. He calls this a 6-pointer, Harrison. So Foxes or Leicester versus Everton, Ipswich for Southampton. Give me the scores, your predicted scores here.
I mean, the grossest games on the slate. Let's go. In no world right now can I pick Everton to win a soccer game. So I'll take Leicester to win that game 2-1. I just think Everton have no confidence finishing games. Southampton, Ipswich. I mean, Southampton's horrible. I think Ipswich is better than them, have the better manager overall. I think talent-wise, it's honestly probably not that much of a difference, but I'll back the manager in McKenna. And I'll say Ipswich get a win on the road and Southampton remains with 0 points.
The Tractor Boys.
We'll say 2-1 Ipswich. I honestly don't know.
I'm going 2-2 Leicester versus Everton and 2-1 Ipswich versus Southampton. I'm just last time I saw, when it was in the championship, Ipswich won both games against Russell Brand and the Southampton men. So I just by default I'm gonna back them. Another fun game: Spurs, Brentford, and Liverpool Cherries. Just two sneaky opponents here. How do you think those games are gonna go?
Brentford's so sneaky, I feel like, in this game.
Super duper.
God, I just don't trust Spurs at all right now and
Nope.
the kind of form they're in. I mean, they had to come back in the final 5 minutes the
It's
other day against
Coventry.
Coventry in the cup. They're a tough team to back also right now. I always like goals with Spurs. I'll say 2-2 in that one. What was the other one you said?
Liverpool, Bournemouth.
Bournemouth played well against Chelsea. Probably deserved a better result in that game, I would say. But also, Liverpool aren't gonna, disappoint the Cop 2 games in a row. So I'll say 2-0 Liverpool against Bournemouth.
Okay. For the Brentford, I hate because I didn't want to agree with you, but 2-2 is how I see that game going out, or even 3-3, something nuts. Brentford could win outright here, in my opinion. In terms of the Liverpool Bournemouth game, I think it's a very cagey match. I'm going to go 2-1 Liverpool there. Going over to La Liga, Villarreal, Barcelona. Barcelona are kind of dropping like flies right now. No Ferran Torres in terms of suspension. Danny Olmo's obviously out as well. What do you think about this game?
Yeah, Villarreal to start the season have had a decent amount of goals in their games. I think Barcelona, even without Olmo, even without Torres, they still have Lamine Yamal and Lewandowski, and right now that's I feel like all they need. And Rafinha, we can't forget about him. I'll say I still like them a lot, even regardless of the red card today and everything and all the injuries that they have. Um, I'll take Barca 3-1. I think that they continue to roll in the Liga.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 3-2 Barcelona win. I agree with you. Going to Serie A, Juventus, Napoli.
Oh, dude,
I'm gonna preface this by saying once we started talking about Napoli last week, I kind of like them to win the entire league, if not get second. So
they
this
sit
is
in
gonna
second right now, right?
yeah, this is gonna be a big game for that as Juventus is top 3 as well. I just think Napoli are more well rested and Juventus played midweek. So I'm gonna back Napoli here 2-1.
Yeah, I think Mata is going to obviously strap it down defensively. We know Conte likes to go with the wing backs and fire forward. But obviously, I think hasn't Juventus only allowed 1 goal total this whole year?
They've been
And,
pretty
and it was
good.
and it was a garbage time goal against PSV or just this week. Um, Napoli is hot right now, but I like how Juventus is playing. I'm actually going to say
Yeah.
0-0. I feel like
Wow.
nothing. I feel
Low
like nothing comes
scoring.
of it. Yeah, nothing comes of it.
I understand that. Milan Derby, Inter Milan, AC Milan.
Oh
What do we
god.
think?
Man, it's just
I'm going Inter Milan personally. I'm going to go 2-0.
I wanna back AC because I like their team, but it's real hard to back the black and red right now. I'm also gonna take Inter even on a short week. Well, they're both on short weeks, so I guess that doesn't matter. We'll say 2-0 Inter. We'll strap it down again.
2-0 Inter. Yeah, no, I agree. Dortmund versus Stuttgart. Big test for Dortmund here. Big test for Dortmund here. Stuttgart look, just as good as they have been from last year. I'm gonna go 2-2 draw here.
Yeah, dude, Stuttgart looked great against Real Madrid this week. I was really impressed with them. Undav looks to be in the same sort of form he was in last year, even without Garassi next to him, who now is on the other side. I didn't think Dortmund played that great Champions League wise against Bruges, but Bino Gittin, or I guess it's just now Gittin now, off the bench, he's just a real spark plug. I don't want to say 2-2 because I don't want to copy you, but that's kind of how I envision it. Feels like a tight game. but Stuttgart at home, they can very well pull it out. I'll lean 2-2 in this one, but I could totally see Stuttgart winning.
Completely agree. No fantasy advice this week, just because I don't really like the slate where couldn't really think of anyone who I'd like, but we're gonna give you some best bets. Kind of recapping our records for the Champions League slate. I went 3-1. I had Liverpool money line, Bayer Leverkusen over, Barca over that push, and then Bayern over 3.5. By the way, that goal was 11 goals. So I mean, talking about flying over, you were 4-1-1 with Lisbon money line. Young Boys Villa over 3 push. That was a tough push, but we fought for that push. Feyenoord Leverkusen W for the over. City Inter under 2.5. Dortmund money line took that rat poison with you.
Yeah,
fully nice dub. And the Barca money line, absolutely tragic loss. Just to let you guys know, 11-4 and 11-4-3 since the season started. But if we're going for cumulative record, I'm 69, 59, and 8. Harrison, you are 63, 62, and 12. So the boys remain over 500. Now for the best bets, Harrison, you took probably the most disgusting bets probably of the show's career here. And I'm going to follow suit. Here. So starting out with Ipswich plus a half, parlayed with Madrid money line.
Who's Madrid play again?
They play Espanyol, who are bottom of the table. So that's just a money line just to give it to even odds, to give me a little bit of juice. Brentford plus 1, love that. PSV money line parlayed with Palace plus a half. My buddy's actually he's flying for 48 hours to England to watch his team Manchester United versus Crystal Palace and West Ham versus Chelsea. So naturally, I bet against his team in the spot. And then Leicester's. If it couldn't get more disgusting than those 3 plays, Leicester City and Everton over 2.5, and then Bochum backing Bochum versus Holstein Kiel. 2 0-3 teams. Bochum's the better side here, in my opinion. Then you got Atalanta to win by 1.5 goals against Como. Como are terrible. Atalanta are really good. And then Timbers RSL over 3.5. MLS Dan, he's back. Chelsea. Chelsea. Harrison, give me your plays.
All right. Dan had a big old slate. I'll be a couple less. I have Chelsea, West Ham over 3. A little London derby. Why not have some goals here? I'm gonna take Crystal Palace and Man U to draw. It just this game just reeks of a draw, I guess. Yeah, it just reeks of a tie. 2 teams who have started the season extremely mediocre. So I will gladly just say that they'll be even in this game. Brighton money line at home again. They had a tough draw last week. I like them in a bounce back at a pretty good price, like minus 130. I don't see why they can't do that against, I believe they're playing, I forgot who they play all of a sudden. Oh, they're playing Forest. A little letdown spot for Forest after they played Liverpool last week. City Arsenal under 2.5. I love this one. This might be the pod, as you would say. Just feels like it's going to be extremely close, and maybe one team will sneak out a win. If not, they'll draw, in my opinion. Bayern Bremen over 3.5. I don't know how you can't take a Bayern over right now. Kane's flying. Bayern offensively look very good, even though they've played mediocre teams. And hey, you get another mediocre team right in front of you in Werder Bremen. So I like goals. And then lastly, Leverkusen, Wolfsburg over 3. Leverkusen goals as well are just, they're scoring at a fantastic clip right now, and they'll be at home. So I expected they'll be able to at least put at least 2, probably 3 themselves in the back of the net. So I like that one as well a lot.
Usually you're the money line spread guy. I'm the over
guy.
Yeah,
we're switching spots a little bit.
Which I hate that, because I actually like all your plays. Naturally, I would take all the plays you listed. I just felt like an absolute gremlin this week and just wanted to take the shittiest bets possible, since I've been absolutely doing pretty well. I don't know if that's just
Dude,
betting.
The nasty ones are usually the ones that cash, though. So
Betting.
I don't blame you.
I think I have betting hubris right now, but I'm just going to quickly recap mine. Then Harrison, you can quickly recap yours. So Ipswich plus a half parlayed with Madrid money line, Brentford +1, PSV money line parlayed with Palace plus a half, Leicester Everton over 2.5, Bochum money line, Atalanta to win by 1.5, and then Timbers RSL over 3.5.
And I got Chelsea West Ham over 3. A gross draw between Palace and United. Brighton money line against Forest. City Arsenal under 2.5. Bayern Bremen over 3.5, and Leverkusen Wolfsburg over 3.
Awesome. Well, thanks for tuning in to another show, and we will see you guys next Monday.